A very much new-look side met today before leaving for Sydney. It wasn't hard to see who was crowd favourite, with Matthew Johns given plenty of support and encouragement. To the side, and 4 players have been ruled out since the team was named on Tuesday, the latest being Adam McDougall. He'll be replaced by Daniel Abraham, while Justin Ryder is also in. But it has also given prop Clinton O'Brien his first run-on start this season. Jason Timu joins the bench to play the Bulldogs at Stadium Australia for his first game in the top grade for over 12 months. Ironically, it was the corresponding match last year that ended Timu's season with an Achilles injury. As for McDougall, he's disappointed to miss tomorrow night's game, but the winger was buoyed by the news his knee injury isn't as bad as first thought.
At first it was a grade 2 and now they say it's only just a grade 1, so I know that's all medical jargon, but that means that it's probably only 5 days away from being 100%.
The match is on NBN tomorrow night from 9 o'clock. Jim Callanan, NBN News.
And things that came up were unprofitable product lines, the way they've been costing, and labour costs were extremely high compared to industry averages.
Broken windows and wanton acts of vandalism occur regularly at the Lake Macquarie Police Citizens Youth Club. So Kevin Black organised a meeting with Sandra Nicol from the Premier's Department today to develop a concerted plan to improve the situation in Windale.
There's such a vast area here, socially the people have got nothing to do, and we want to try and lift that area up and give them a bit of self-esteem.
As the project manager for the Hunter Community Renewal Scheme, Sandra Nicol says Windale has positive attributes which many in the community don't know about.
Sometimes we need to have a look at some of the other ideas that are around so we know how to cope.
And in order to facilitate information between the community and non-government organisations, an informal get-together will be planned.
They're going to be holding a community barbecue so that all of the government, all of these agencies and non-government agencies can be there to introduce their services to people.
If you lose someone of the calibre of Andrew Johns, you've lost both your halves, and being an outside back, it'd be a crucial blow, and it's something I'd have to consider. I don't want to be at a club that's weakened.
Newcastle's ferries are in no real danger, but today's training exercise helps to ensure the Army reserves are ready for the real thing. In the field, Army teams use the same techniques to search for weapons, personnel or evidence.
We do a low risk search, which is identifying any problems or clearing it if there is none, and then turning it over to experts if there is.
While a commander gave the directions, the teams covered the ferry from top to bottom, and at the end of it all, they'll be fully qualified in operational searches. Meanwhile, there was less active but just as intense action on the wharf. Protesters gathered to lobby against the federal government's immigration laws.
I think we need to relook at our immigration laws and say, well, you know, these people are fleeing from desperate circumstances. They're not criminals. They shouldn't be treated as criminals. So we should have more compassion.
Brooke Webster, NBN News.
Tonight to celebrate Kids Safe and what it's all about. It's actually going to become a reality very shortly, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
Here we go.
Mum, Dad,
Lifting 2.5 times your body weight takes an intense effort.
Calm, tight, do it. Focus. Think about it, do it.
One of 6 Australian representatives competing at the state championships, Wayne Sharp turned in a great performance to lift 125 kilograms in the under 48 kilo class. Less than 60 kilograms himself, Richard Nicholson tried for an Australian record of 170, but his uneven lift beat him. Wayne Parnell was the only competitor in the elite division of the state titles, not in the Paralympic train-on squad, but he was delighted with 70 kilos at his second attempt. The Hunters Kahi Puru dominated the 100 kilogram plus division, benching a new Australian record of 212.5 kilos and then another at 215. Injury problems behind him, the big man hopes he's selected so he can take part in the Paralympics opening ceremony.
South's Dean Mikowski learned the hard way how swinging arms hurt, the 5/8 injuring his arm in the opening minute and played no further part. Aaron Thorne got in the way of a certain West's try. But no one could stop Paul Skovgaard a few minutes later. That man Thorne turned things back the Lions' way with a clever run to the line to lock it up. While Gavin Cook had his hands on things as well, intercepting to give the visitors a 6-point buffer once more. From one half-back to another, and Daniel Watson laid on the perfect pass for Grant Rogers, and the Newcastle rep scooted over to level it up again. After a good game for the state residents team midweek, Jared O'Doherty continued his good form, making it 18-12 at the break. Some lowlights from high shots featured after half-time, while Gavin Cook had a swing as well. But Thorne was stinging in attack, his try getting Souths within reach again. But it was Western Suburbs the winners, 36-18.
The dawn of a new day and a new era for Cessnock. As part of a long-term half-century plan for the city, a new shopping centre complex has been constructed and was opened this morning. Together with developer Peter Hooper and other local dignitaries, the Mayor of Cessnock, Councillor John Clarence, described the new Cessnock City Centre as a $20 million vote of confidence for the city. And with all the speeches over, there was little to say but... Despite a crisp and cool start to the day, there was no shortage of customers ready to make the most of 10 new specialty retailers, as well as a new Target store and an ultra-modern Coles supermarket. Pride already showing among the new shop owners, who together with their employees make up the 300 jobs created by the new complex. Matt Carden, NBN News.
Mining and danger seem to go hand in hand, but there is a solution.
Well, it's a matter of being prepared for emergency. Rather than letting nature take its course, be prepared, the old Boy Scouts motto.
To that end, Power Coal has joined forces with Cowan Manufacturing to come up with a relocatable fresh air base. Unveiled today by Small Business Minister Sandra Norrie, the chamber contains its own air, water and other essential supplies, even communications, all designed to support 12 men for up to 24 hours in times of trouble.
For the first time they've got a real rally point. They can rally because it may only be 200 metres away from the working face, and that's very important with disorientation in coal mines, panic.
Welcomed by rescue and mine workers alike, the base will now undergo extensive testing at Power Coal's Myuna colliery.
We'll have some pretty intensive training at the mine. I'm sure the guys will look forward to having an extra safety device on the ground, yeah.
Meanwhile, Federal Trade Minister Mark Vaile was in town today, visiting some of the 500 companies that'll be joining him on a trade mission to China later this week. Among them, mining equipment maker Hydromatic Engineering, which has just won its biggest ever overseas contract.
Pretty excited about the Chinese contract that we've won. It's 6 mobile bolting machines and it's worth something like 5.3 million Australian dollars.
people from this region are particularly interested in sport, and the Olympics being the major sporting event of the calendar for 2000, we think that the enthusiasm of local people around Newcastle and the other regions will support our drive to attract the right sort of people.
Senior Newcastle Breakers players today played down the team meeting held to discuss what options they have should the club fail to pay outstanding money. While there are conflicting reports from those who attended, one thing is clear: they are preparing for the worst case scenario of not being paid at all. If that occurred, players would then be free to sign with other clubs. As for the club itself, no news on negotiations to secure a cash injection via a new partner. On to the Newcastle Knights, and they'll push their case for an NRL board meeting to be held as soon as possible, with NRL CEO David Moffat tomorrow when he visits the city. Newcastle wants a scheduled meeting brought forward in time to discuss dispensation for long-serving homegrown players, in particular Matthew Johns. But even if that was granted, it's uncertain Matthew would accept the offer given the high level of interest in other clubs, especially from the Northern Eagles.
I've had a few little chats to Matt this week, but I usually speak to Matt once a week, but I've probably spoken to him 2 or 3 times this week.
Meanwhile, his brother Andrew's future isn't expected to be finalised for some time yet.
I sort of said it on weekend before that I want to concentrate in football and get back to the way I've played in the last couple of years, and then I'll make decisions, so probably a couple of weeks down the track.
Jim Callanan, NBN News.
Surgery waiting lists continue to be one of the Department of Health's biggest headaches, but the New South Wales Government believes having access to that information on the internet will allay patients' concerns, with Hunter Health today also giving the idea the thumbs up.
To give people an opportunity to make more informed decisions about their own healthcare by giving them more information, and we'd certainly support that.
An Australian first, the new website displays data on waiting times specifying the type of surgery, hospital and specialist doctor, but the information has also revealed a major discrepancy between procedures. In the Hunter, for instance, depending on the hospital, the wait for a straightforward operation can range from 4 weeks to 11 months.
Well, there are differences between the waiting times for procedures and also between the waiting times for individual doctors, and this is for a number of reasons.
They include the number of people referred to the doctor or even the time allocated to surgeons in the public health system. The idea has also drawn criticism from the Australian Medical Association. Although unavailable for comment today, a local surgeon has questioned the efficiency of the system and says if the government spent as much time trying to sort out the logistics hampering the public health system, the problem might be a step closer to being solved. Helen Kapelos, NBN News.
We're going to have a group of boxers from Japan coming in, Japanese boxers, and also a rugby union team from the US. They'll add a bit of international flavour.
And is that great difficulty? Great difficulty? When you give them time to do their work. There used to give us a fair go. 9 cleaners at this school, now there's only 3.
The children should be able to sit in an atmosphere where there's no fear of asthma and all of those things. The cleaners can't do the work they're allocated to do now. This is totally unfair.
We've got a big yard and a lot of classrooms. We're not sweatshop workers. No, we're not either. That's right.
Fighting cancer is traumatic enough, but living with the side effects of treatment can affect self-confidence. In a bid to restore some dignity to female cancer sufferers, a Look Good, Feel Better workshop was held in Newcastle today.
It encourages oncology women to come and learn ways of using makeup to cover the side effects that they have with radiotherapy and chemotherapy.
The workshops are practical, focusing on the application of makeup, hats and wigs.
Mainly how to put eye makeup on when they don't have any eyelashes, how to draw eyebrows on when they've lost their eyebrows, and using colour correctors to give them a better skin tone.
It's all about improving the quality of life for cancer patients by restoring their self-image.
It's giving them confidence, helping them get through this most difficult time and giving them a bit of fun today, and making them enjoy themselves.
The cosmetic industry donates products worth more than $1 million to the program every year. More than 20,000 women have been through the nationwide program since it first began. Tanya Carlisle, NBN News.
When the Knights failed to offer Matthew Johns a contract, citing the effects of a salary cap, it prompted calls for change so clubs could accommodate for homegrown and life member players. But NRL Chief David Moffat isn't rushing into anything.
It would make my job absolutely impossible if I've got a set of rules and then every 5 minutes I'm being asked to vary them for one reason or another.
In saying that, the NRL boss conceded the salary cap does have flaws, and that's why a board meeting on the 25th of May will debate the issues.
Nothing in rugby league is simple. There are anomalies all over the place.
And the Knights see plenty with the cap for standalone clubs as opposed to those who've merged.
That's been one of our big complaints, is that standalone clubs don't have any variation to it, and there are anomalies, and it's not an even playing field.
The board is aware of this great public debate, specifically up here, but it's one that's been had before by other clubs, and you have to weigh up everything that's gone before and is likely to go in the future.
While club officials will have their say, so will the players. Knights captain Tony Butterfield is preparing a paper on behalf of the Players Association for the NRL so that they can be included in the decision-making process. He's known for lightning moves with the knockout blow, and Adam Watt expects his walk to live up to his talk.
I'm going to give him a war. I mean, it's my world title. I've sacrificed, so much of my life for this art and for these world titles, and there's no way he's going to get it without having to go through the war.
Out to get his title, freshman Fabrice Bernardin, the European cruiserweight and world number 7. His countryman, Tonkara Bakari, is up against Ben Steele, who will fight for the world super welterweight title in front of his home crowd at the Newcastle Entertainment Centre.
Lay in bed at night and the mind starts to wander and the butterflies come and the burning sensations there, so it's a magnitude of emotions, but in front of the home crowd it's going to be a great experience.
And while there is a language barrier, the message is clear from their opponents.
Je suis venu chercher la ceinture. Je suis venu remporter la ceinture.
You come take the belt back to French.
Savage Garden came from nowhere in 1997, and so does their show. Affirmation is the duo's second album. It's already sold 4 million copies on its own. Though Darren Hayes and Daniel Johns are a musical partnership, they have clearly defined roles. Hayes handles the media and the melodies, while Johns generates the musical foundations.
That's kind of what he does. He works ahead of me. He will work on tracks, and then eventually I'll look at them and write melodies and lyrics, and we write demos together.
6,000 people filled the Newcastle Entertainment Centre last night to get a taste of Savage Garden's sound, produced to appeal to as wide an audience as possible.
I came from the blue-collar family, I lived in a caravan park, so I wanted to make records that they related to as opposed to, other musicians or the industry.
With enough money in the bank to last a lifetime, the duo's main aim for its shows is to leave the audience feeling good.
People don't pay $50 to see a show just to kind of check it out a bit critical. I mean, they want this experience.
Police made the gruesome discovery yesterday afternoon after a distressed relative raised the alarm. Slumped on the floor of this Doran Street home, the bodies of 2 women. They were last seen alive on Sunday. Their bodies lay undiscovered for some 48 hours. Today, a team of police scoured the neighbourhood, interviewing residents for clues to the double murder. From early results, it's believed the women suffered massive head wounds inflicted by a blunt object.
Preliminary examinations of the deceased reveal that blunt force trauma may have been responsible for the injuries. However, we're still awaiting the conclusion of forensic examinations.
And although the women are yet to be formally identified, police believe the 2 were in their 30s and that one of the victims was known to police for drug-related offences.
At this stage, the forensic examination is being continued, and I'm not prepared to reveal anything that's been located or found in the house.
Friends of the women visited the murder scene today to collect the victim's cat. Police have established a task force to investigate the brutal murders. Strikeforce Rappo includes detectives from the Sydney Crime Agency. Police are still waiting for the results of the post-mortem examinations. Tanya Carlisle, NBN News.